tuned into the Burrage Sport Show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Burrage Sport Show. We have a great show for you today. In fact, we're going to honor the fathers. This is a Father's Day edition. As you guys know, I'm a dad. I'm Mike Burrage, and I'm here with my son,
Mike Burr.
Mike Burr always delivers. First, I want to say a shout out to all the dads out there, especially my dad, at the best dad in the world. He's doing a fantastic job. But to all the dads out there, happy Father's Day. Enjoy, kick back, relax, enjoy your day. And to all of the moms and all of the sons and daughters and nieces and nephews, you're going to enjoy this podcast too. So let's get right into it. We have a really hot topic today. Our hot topic today is the best father-child duos or triplets or quadruplets in sports. We're going to talk about the top athletes with the dad and with the child in all the sports. So we're going to start with Mike Burr. Hit us with what you got.
Well, I want to start this list off right. We got to talk about Muhammad and Layla Ali. Two GOATs, two of the greatest fighters of all time. You look at Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest trash talkers. He was a pop culture icon still to this day. R.I.P. to a legend. He was the 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. In his career, he won 61 fights, 37 knockouts. And outside of the ring, he was a social justice warrior. And he was willing to sacrifice almost 3 years of his career during his prime for what he believed in. And I think that's a great example of, fighting for what you believe in and willing to sacrifice. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And he passed that down to his daughter, who was an undefeated fighter. She won 24 fights, 21 by knockout, and she held 2 belts as super middleweight and light heavyweight champion. So when you talk about the GOAT of either side of boxing, you got to bring up the Alis. Muhammad Ali, you have to put him in the GOAT conversation, and Layla Ali, you got to put her in the GOAT conversation as well.
I totally agree. They might be the only dad-child relationship on this list, on both our lists, where you can consider both of them the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. So that's a good pick, man. I'm going to keep it boxing. I'm going to just throw a little curveball out there.
All right.
One of Muhammad Ali's greatest foes, in fact, he beat Muhammad Ali to win the heavyweight championship of the world in 1978, Ken Norton Sr. and Ken Norton Jr.
Ooh.
And I picked them because they did something that's really hard to do. Ken Norton Sr., as we just talked about, became the heavyweight champion of the world. He's considered one of the 50 greatest fighters of all time. He's in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. But his son, Ken Norton Jr., is the first player in the history of the NFL to be a 3-time Super Bowl champion 3 years in a row for 3 consecutive years. He won with the Dallas Cowboys 2 years, and then he got traded to, or via free agency, went to the San Francisco 49ers, and he won a Super Bowl with the 49ers. He was an All-American at USC. So those are 2 of the hardest feats, I think, in sports, to become, as a dad, the heavyweight champion of the world, and then to have a son who not only wins 1 Super Bowl, but wins 3 Super Bowls. So I got to put on that list Ken Norton Sr. and Ken Norton Jr. because they accomplished 2 of the hardest things you can do pretty much in all the sports.
Yeah. Though, I mean, being the heavyweight champion of the world, you're the best on the planet. And then making the NFL is tough, let alone winning the Super Bowl. It's only 1 team each year. And to get 3 of them, not a lot of players have done that. And that's another interesting duo because a lot of times the father and the son, you'll see them in the same sport. Like they'll both play basketball, both play football. But in this case, you have a boxer and then an NFL player. So that's an interesting combo there.
Yep.
So keeping it football, I want to talk about the Mannings. Archie, Peyton, and Eli Manning.
Ooh, nice.
A lot of people don't talk about Archie, but he played in the NFL for 13 seasons. And 2 years he made the Pro Bowl. In his career, he threw 143 touchdowns and he's inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame. His son, Peyton Manning, has an argument to be maybe the greatest quarterback of all time. He's the NFL all-time passing leader, all-time touchdown leader, and he's the only starting quarterback to win a Super Bowl for 2 separate franchises. I know Tom Brady's going to try to do that this year, but so far it's only Peyton Manning. He played 18 seasons. He was 14 times a Pro Bowler, won the MVP 5 times, and he was first team All-Pro 7 times. So one of the GOATs. And then his brother Eli is probably going to go to the Hall of Fame as well. I know
he should. Eli should get in, man.
It's people on both sides of the fence with that. But you got to put some respect on Eli's name. I mean, 15 seasons. He made the Pro Bowl 4 times. He's 6th all-time in passing yards. He has the second longest streak as a starter. He played 210 games before he was benched.
For no reason. Stupid reason to bench him.
It's not like they won anymore after they benched him.
Right.
And then he won 2 Super Bowls. And not just any 2 Super Bowls. He defeated the GOAT twice. And in one of those Super Bowls, he defeated what could have been the greatest team of all time. Yep. They were going for an undefeated record in the modern era of football, and he shut them down. You gotta give Eli some respect. So you got 2 Hall of Famers, and the dad is in the Saints Hall of Fame with the Mannings.
I like that pick. Gotta go with the Mannings, man, and put some respect on Eli's name. All he did was win.
Respect.
So I gotta go with that. I think that's a good one. I'm going to shift gears. Sometimes we don't give this sport enough love, but let's talk about some tennis. Let's talk about Yannick Noah, the Frenchman, and his son, Joachim Noah. If you don't know about Yannick Noah, you better ask somebody. He won a major. If you win a major in tennis, that means you're one of the best in the world, because tennis truly is a global sport.
It is.
And we know what the majors are. The U.S. Open, Wimbledon, the Australian Open, the French Open. Yannick Noah in 1983 won the French Open in singles. In 1984, he was a part of a team that won the French Open in doubles. And he's a Frenchman. And so you got to put some respect on his name for him to win a major in tennis. That's huge. He's also a great dude. He does a lot of things in the community, a lot of charitable work. He's brought a lot of tennis all over Europe to underprivileged and poor people. He's a great role model. And then we know about his son, Joachim Noah. You know we're from Chicago. He was a bull.
He's a dog.
But Joachim Noah, he won 2 national championships in college. In 2006, 2007, the Florida Gators won back-to-back NCAA championships. And he had a really good career. A lot of people forget how good Noah was before the injury started piling up. He was a 2-time All-Star. He was a first-team All-NBA player. And he was also Defensive Player of the Year. A lot of people forget that.
He was.
So shout out to Yannick Noah and shout out to Joachim Noah, because once again, that's a combo you don't see. Dad was a major championship winning tennis player, and your son was a national champion and an All-Star and a Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA. Pretty good combo there, and that's why they made my list.
Nice. Yeah, I know all Bulls fans appreciate all the work Noah put on the defensive glass, the offensive glass, and just a hustle player. I wanna keep it. Go back to football. We got another football trilogy. We got the Longs: Howie Long, Chris Long, and Cal Long.
I like the Longs.
Yeah, Howie Long played 13 seasons in the NFL, 8-time Pro Bowler. In 1984, he won a Super Bowl with the Raiders.
Yep.
In his career, he had 84 career sacks, 10 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. In 1985, he won Defensive Player of the Year, and he's a Hall of Famer.
And he's in the Hall, baby.
He got the jacket. And his son, Chris Long, played 10 NFL seasons. He made the All-Rookie team in 2008. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler, and he had over 62 sacks in his career. And he won the Super Bowl twice, back to back. One with the Pats in 2017, and then he won next year when he played for the Eagles.
Yep.
And then you got Kyle Long, who we all love in Chicago.
Yep.
It was times where he was one of the best, if not the best, offensive lineman in the league. He came in the league. He made the all-rookie team. He played a total of 7 seasons before he retired this year after a series of injuries. But during his career, he made the Pro Bowl 3 times, and he was a 2-time All-Pro as well. So the Longs have a great football history.
Yeah. And you know what I like about the Longs? They're good dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, they care about the community. They're very personable. They're great interviews. So not only are they great football players and champion football players, they're really good people. Mm-hmm. You know, they're good people, and they're really good for the sport of football, not only on the field but off the field. Really good dudes. Okay, now I'm going to go with a king and a prince. This guy might be considered the greatest of all time already, and I think his son has the potential already to be the greatest of all time. I'm going with the king, LeBron James, and Bronny James.
Ooh.
I'm putting them on my list already as one of the best father-son duos of all time, because I love their energy. You can't argue with the fact that if someone thinks that LeBron James is the greatest player of all time, I mean, even above Michael, even above Kareem, even if above Wilt or Russell or Kobe, Bird, Magic, it's not like you could say they're wrong. I mean, LeBron James is a monster, and I like Bronny already. Coach Calipari of Kentucky and Coach K of Duke, they've already promised Bronny James a full ride if he picks their university. I think he's like, what, a freshman in high school?
Wow.
So I'm putting them on the list already because I want to look into the future. When I saw LeBron James in high school, I told a lot of people that's the greatest of all time already, and I'm going to do it again with Bronny, the second greatest of all time already. So shout out to the James family. They got a wonderful family. I love the mom, the daughters. They're great, classic American family. They care about social issues. They care about what happens on the court, off the court. They speak up, and they just are a great example of living the American dream. Start with nothing and to end up with everything. Do the hard work, making the right decision, making the right moves. So I'm going with LeBron the king and Bronny the prince on my list.
Ooh. And you might not know this, but Bronny might go down also as one of the greatest 2K players of all time. He streams a lot.
What?
And he blows people out every time. He's a really good 2K player as well.
I didn't know
and
that.
esports are a growing thing.
Yeah.
I got another football trilogy for you guys. It's a lot of football, but I want to go with the Matthews. You got Clay Matthews Jr., Clay Matthews III, and Casey Matthews. Clay Matthews Jr., he played 19 seasons in the NFL, almost 2 decades. That's impressive alone. He played over 278 games. That's the most games ever as a linebacker. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler. He was first team All-Pro in 1984. And he finished his career with over 1,500 tackles, 70 sacks, and 16 interceptions. Then his son, who unfortunately played for the Packers, he won Defensive Player of the Year in 2010, and in only 9 seasons, he was able to get 80 sacks, 14 forced fumbles, and 6 interceptions. And he was a monster. I hate to admit it. He definitely gave us a lot of bad memories as Bears fans, but he's a great player, and he's probably gonna get in the Hall of Fame. And then he also had his brother Casey Matthews. He played for the Eagles for a little bit, so you got another football family with 3, the dad and 2 sons.
That's good. Yeah, Matthews are a stable name in the NFL. It's like every season when you watch the NFL, because they've had a long run, because they don't miss games.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And they have long careers. It seems like there's always a Matthew on the field. So that's a real cool one. My next one is going to be a shout out to the unknown dads. The dads who aren't famous, the dads who you won't see on the news every night, but the dads who took you to your games when you were a kid, like my dad, the dad who made you do chores so he could buy you a baseball glove, the dads who worked the overtime or worked 2 jobs or was willing to sacrifice some sleep to show up at one of your games, or sometimes to volunteer to coach the teams. And so I want to give a shout out to the duo of the unknown or the not so famous dads who take their daughters to gymnastics and might just sit in the car sometimes, but they're there. Or the dads who coach their daughters, like look at Richard Williams and what happened with Venus and Serena. Yeah. So we're talking about the top athletes, dad and their children, but there's a lot of different ways you can be an athlete. So shout out to all the dads who were there for their children. Might not be famous, children might not be famous, but they were always there for us, always getting our back, always taking care of us. And a lot of them are the reason why we have the love for the game. We watch them watching sports, we watch them get all into it, watch their buddies all hype and fired up, sitting around the barbershop with a bunch of men talking about the sport and all the different things. So that's what I want to go with. All the unknown dads and all the dads that you might not ever know that were there for their children.
Yep. Yeah, on that note, I think we named a lot of the great duos and combinations in sports. I want to say thank you to my dad personally for always being there and helping me out.
That's me.
And doing this podcast. So, this has been the Father's Day episode.
Oh, but wait, we're forgetting one duo we're not even talking about right now.
Cool.
I'm surprised. The Currys.
Oh.
Cordell Curry, Steph Curry, come on.
All right. April's shouting out to the Currys. We got it.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
All right.
You do have multiple Currys. Steph Curry, we know, is the greatest three-point shooter in the history of basketball.
And his brother.
Mike, elaborate a little bit.
And then you got his dad, Dale Curry, who was no slouch either. He played for the Charlotte Hornets. He scored almost 10,000 points in his career. And he was also a great three-point shooter at a time when the three wasn't really emphasized like that. So you could really consider him a pioneer as well. Curry won 6 Man of the Year in 1994. And, of course, we know his son. He's going to go down as one of the GOATs. And then Steph Curry, who's a great player. He's one of those guys that can fill it up. He plays with a lot of energy. You got to like his game as well.
Yep. Steph, and Dale. So can't forget the Currys, especially because of Steph Curry. Once again, the greatest shooter in the history of basketball. So, Mike Bird, got anything else?
That's it.
Well, hey, that's our podcast again. Happy Father's Day. We love you. See you next time. Mike Burr, drop the beat.